Rodgers and Shedeur Sanders could go along if the Steelers went that route. But there are no assurances that Pittsburgh is going to go that route at number 21 when they have other needs as well. This will be an organizational decision. If they take Shedeur, he has a new home. If they don't, then we have entered into a really intriguing part of the draft where Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart are alive. And interestingly, the belief around the league is that the Saints and the Giants both really like Jackson Dart.
So, Shepty, there's an irony in all of this, Mel, because you keep making the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers and the way that he slid through the draft, and now perhaps Rodgers playing some role in Pittsburgh's decision as they make this pick here at 21. But we're waiting to see if this is the spot. Shedeur Sanders will finally hear his name called.
The Steelers have no second-round pick. That went to Seattle for DK Metcalf. So they're sitting here with a pick. We talked about Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon, could be mentored by Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward can't play great forever, right? He's a Hall of Famer, but he's playing with 2 more years, maybe 3. So you bring in maybe Derek Harmon. How do you feel about Shedeur at 21? Have him at 5. This organization has not had won a playoff game in 9 years. They haven't had any losing seasons in a long time, but 21, they haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. In this division, with Burrow and Lamar and the AFC loaded with great quarterbacks, and you have Mason Rudolph, and there's Shedeur sitting there, and you have no second-round pick. Where's the young quarterback coming in, Boog? I'm taking Shedeur Sanders. I prefer him in New Orleans. I don't know what the Saints were thinking there. That's their decision. I disagree with it. But if I'm Pittsburgh, Shedeur Sanders, the pass on him at this stage at pick 21, Boog, come on.
All right, I'm told that the pick is in. The commissioner is making his way to the stage. Will this be the moment that we hear the second quarterback's name, or will the drop continue? Here comes Roger Goodell with the announcement.
With the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon.
You can hear the roar in this crowd. That is the surprise of many, and it is echoed on this stage. Let's talk about Derek Harmon. The young man can rush the passer from the interior of that D-line. Led all defensive tackles and quarterback pressures with 34. Mel, he was fabulous at the Combine. He's from Detroit. Started his career at Michigan State. Had 1 season at Oregon.
He had a really good season because he did something at Oregon that he didn't do at Michigan State, was compete and can be consistent on a game-to-game basis. He really, this year, took his game from a competitive standpoint to a new level. I know that Michigan State kept waiting for it to really hit home and really develop into that kind of player that his talent indicated he could be. And this year, he did it. He was disruptive. He got in the backfield. He hit Quinshon Judkins in that game on October 12th, caused that fumble when Ohio State had all the momentum. You watch him, guys. He can get into the backfield. Plays a little high, but he is a guy can learn from Cam Hayward. Talk about that. Will they weigh that position, that need, and having a guy that can be maybe the heir apparent to Cam Hayward against the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders? They opted for Derek Harmon because they love the fact he could be the next guy to take over for Cam Hayward.
Well, no doubt. And you talk about Cam Hayward getting a little longer in the tooth. This is something that Pittsburgh doesn't have, which is interior pass rush. You mentioned he led all defensive tackles as far as pass rush pressures from the inside. And when you look at Keanu Bitten, who they took out of Wisconsin, he's played well, but getting to the passer hasn't been his forte. This is an opportunity to fortify the defensive front. Again, pass on the quarterback, fortify the defensive front with T.J. Watt. I like what the Steelers are doing. You just wonder, without Aaron Rodgers, who's going to play quarterback position for them?
That's a great question. We don't know right now.
No one knows.
Guess it'll be Mason Rudolph.
One wonders if they know. By the way, the Steelers' last first-round defensive lineman was Cam Hayward, whom they selected 31st in 2011. So there's the celebration in the Steeler draft room. The question is, when will the next quarterback come off the board? Come on back and find out. The Chargers are on the clock. We're back in Green Bay in just a moment.
Got a list of some guys who were great in the NFL, but they were old school pocket passers, and where they slid, how the NFL didn't really regard them highly coming out of college. That's a long list of names. The quarterbacks went on to be outstanding in the National Football League. Will Johnson, I think the injury affected him, pushed him down. Marion Hampton surprised. Denver didn't take. Once Denver opted to go a different direction, and Denver took Shedeur Barron, the cornerback safety from Texas. All of a sudden, Hampton could drop a little bit. The running back's not a big need. Pretty need here. Josh Simmons would have been a top 5, top 10 pick had not been for an injury. Medically, he should be ready to go for training camp. There's Matthew Golden, He would fit what the Chargers are looking for as well. Kid who catches the football and has great speed with that 4.29. The Chargers needs right now interior offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, and they could not stop the run. 27th in per carry average allowed last year.
There isn't any question, however, this has become now the story of the night. Shedeur Sanders, according to our draft day predictor, there was a 96% chance that he would be selected in the first 21 picks entering this draft, 21 being the operative number with the Steelers. So we are now in that zone where we wait and see if any team chooses to trade up from the second round to make the aggressive move.
We always act like we're in the 6th round of the draft right now, which Shedeur Sanders hasn't been picked. No. And we're still where Lamar Jackson wasn't taken. And last time I checked, the Baltimore Ravens took Hayden Hurst, a 25-year-old tight end at the time, out of South Carolina, tight end. And then they traded back into 32 to take Lamar Jackson. We're ready to pack it up at the end of day 1 and get ready for day 2, right? There's Lamar Jackson. That list of the pocket passer. Johnny Unitas, cut by the Steelers, passed over, right? Nobody wanted it. Dan Marino passed over for Cal Davis and Ken O'Brien, right? Joe Montana went in the 3rd round. Kurt Warner, undrafted free agent. Peyton Manning, people half the league like Ryan Leaf over him and took Bill Foley to take him number 1 overall. Matt Ryan. Jake Long went ahead of Matt Ryan. They took him so far, something took Chad Henne over Matt Ryan. Pocket guy. How'd that work out, right? Drew Brees, 2nd round. Chargers, then Miami didn't take him. Goes to New Orleans, right? How'd that work? Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Kirk Cousins, 4th round pick. They're all traditional drop back pocket passers. I didn't mention the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, 6th round pick. So just think about that list. The NFL didn't like him back when Johnny Unitas came out of Louisville. They didn't like him now. They've been burned 9 out of 10 times by passing on these guys.
But I don't know if it's that the NFL doesn't like them. I think the NFL is saying that those quarterbacks, maybe like Shedeur Sanders, they don't do anything special. So we talked about earlier in the show about people getting wild with the off-platform throws and all these different things. Shedeur Sanders plays point guard from the pocket, and maybe they're not valuing that in the first round now.
But you know what, Boog? He does do something special. The first thing that quarterback whisperers, guys who we respect the most as far as developing quarterback, that the first thing that they talk about when they're talking about what does it take to play quarterback at a high level in the NFL, they don't say wild throws. They don't say great traits. They say exactly what you said in your own highlight. Decision-making.
Yes.
Accuracy. That's what they say. Shedeur has made great decisions in the pocket, outside the pocket. When he's getting his head knocked off, he's made great decisions. He throws the football with accuracy. The whole arm strength thing, I mean, come on. Look, how many times? He's a nice passer of the football. It's as simple as that. He just is. What this comes down to, look, I'm going to try and look at this from a team's perspective, right? Every team likes, teams like players. It's just a matter of what price do they want to pay, right? So they figure for him, if we're judging the landscape right here, we don't need to pay top 15 prices, top 20 prices. Heck, we may not even need to pay 4th round prices. Does that mean I agree with it?
But they need quarterbacks, though. Like
You're right.
The most important position.
Hey, they're taking all the teams that are passing on them right now, as Mel just mentioned, are taking a gamble. They're taking a gamble. The teams who need a quarterback, and if you pass on him and he winds up having a Drew Brees type of career, a Tom Brady type of career, which he's totally capable of. You're going to sit back and teams are going to. There's going to be a lot of revisionist history on him.
I get that.
There's going to be a lot of case studies done on why did people pass on him? Was it because they thought he was cocky? Was it because of his dad? Was it because he was too brash? All the other nonsense that you hear. Because it isn't because of how he plays the game.
I agree with you.
It's not how he plays the game.
All right, we have only had one quarterback selected. We have only had one trade made. If Shedeur Sanders was going to get drafted here, it would have to be a trade because Justin Herbert is going to be the quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers. So I said that facetiously. Obviously, this is...
And right now, when affordability matters most, Hyundai is committed to keeping our prices the same, with no increase to MSRP. And not just on a few of our vehicles, all of them. That's the Hyundai way.
My kids can't hide anything from me.
I'm home.
Especially when they've been using toilet paper that doesn't hold up.
Alright, whatever. Okay. guy, some random guy. He walked up on DeMar DeRozan, and I think he was trying to troll him.
Hàng này mình sẽ
But
mắc
he
một
ended
cái
up
mũi
getting
đơn
attacked and body slammed or slapped by. He says this is his tweet. He
Mình
says
mắc
I
một mũi
just got
đơn
attacked
vòng
and
qua.
body slapped by DeMar DeRozan.
Tiếp tục mắc vào nha mọi người. Cứ luân phiên từng mũi. Mắc lại một chút kiểu mũi này. Mắc tiếp này. Mũi nữa này. Cứ mắc lần lượt từng mũi rồi đó. Tiếp đi mọi người.
And even though nobody knows exactly where we'll see quarterbacks.
Bro, the level just started and we're already getting overrun. I gotta take these guys out and build this crossbow tower as fast as possible.
Back Shedeur Sanders next season. We do know he ain't hard to find. He also apparently hasn't.
FC Dunkin' Bucket. Now anyone can dunk.
Tiếp tục mắc nữa.
With 3 sauces, fries, new mashed potato poppers, and original recipe tenders. Dunk for $7 or get enough to share for $25.
Nên là sẽ đổi sang cái phần lưỡi chai thông thường này. Đây mọi người móc cho mình cứ từng mũi một nhé. Móc khoảng 1/3 cái vành mũ là được. Không móc một nửa nhé, một nửa là hơi bị nhiều đấy. Mọi người móc cái lưỡi chai thì khoảng 1/3 thôi. Móc lại cái mũi này một chút. Đây. Mình móc vào. Tiếp tục với mọi người. Cứ lần lượt từ mũi cho đến khi được cái đường viền nổi như thế này. Tiếp nhá. Mũi tiếp theo này. Đấy, mọi người cứ làm lần lượt thế này cho mình là được. Mình tiếp tục mình móc. Đây. Thêm một mũi nữa nha là sẽ dừng. Thêm một mũi nữa. Ok rồi. Đây nó sẽ vuông góc nha. Đây này mình móc mũi nổi thì cho nó vuông góc. Cắt cái dây đỏ đi cho nó đỡ vướng, nhìn cho nó dễ. Rồi. Đây nha mọi người. Cái phần vành này nó vuông góc với cái phần chóp mũ. Bây giờ mình sẽ móc cho nó dài thêm ra. Móc dài thêm ra. Nói chung là cái lưỡi chai thì móc độ dài tùy ý nhé. Cũng không có một cái quy chuẩn gì cả đâu. Lưỡi chai ngắn hay dài tùy